Good evening, all. Ira Epstein with your SPDR ETF stock market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for Wednesday, the 14th of December, 2022. You do know that this is the last full week of trading for this year. We have 4-day weeks next week and the week after, so be aware of that. We had the FOMC, and I'll get into that in a minute. I want to give you an idea of what to expect tomorrow, because tomorrow's a huge day. Jobless claims, New York Empire State Survey, advanced retail sales, Philly Fed, I have this in here twice. Federal Reserve will come out with their monthly industrial production. We get business inventory data coming out tomorrow. We get the energy storage for natural gas, and then two big reports. We get the Bank of England announcing its monetary policy and the European Central Bank announcing theirs. We are swamped tomorrow. So if you're a trader that is looking for a day that maybe you let some of these reports come out and then you approach the market, I would say that's it. Now, the Fed. If you took a look, it's pretty much came out the way I was predicting. The dot plot was everything, and the Fed conservatively is going up to the 5.1% by the end of the year. They did not mention when they're going to pivot to the downside. Most of the plots say they're going to stay strong throughout the year, hoping, I want to use that word in quotes, hoping that that 5% rate will get ahead of where inflation is. Because historically, you don't take inflation down unless interest rates get over inflation. And the inflation numbers that we've seen, and you saw them yesterday, while they're coming down, they're crawling. They're not crashing to the downside. The Fed chair did his best to explain that as well. He's looking at what's going on. He talked at length about the labor market and the fact that we lost out of 4 million people, and that's what we're missing in the labor market. It's one of the reasons we're keeping labor so strong. And there's a rotation as tech companies are letting off, service industry is picking people up. So it's back and forth which way it goes, but it doesn't make up for the 4 million you're missing. A combination of deaths from COVID, retirement, all different types of thing going in there. Remember, the baby boomers, they came out of the market. I think they're going to come back because if prices keep going like this, some of them can't afford to retire. So that wouldn't surprise me at all. Where do you take it all? That's going to be the big question. So let's go to the chart action. And remember, I'm going to repeat, got to be careful here. One thing you should look at is Tesla down to 156. Mr. Musk is now no longer the richest man in the world. The man that owns Tiffany, LVMH, Mr. Arnault, he is now the richest man in the world. These things change, but you do realize Tesla has fallen out of grace. Twitter is not the best thing that Mr. Musk could have done. And this needs a rescue of some type. But it's not only there. It's even when we take a look at Polestar. Look at how they're coming back. Are they going to fill the gap in the chart becomes the big question right here. My guess is if there's any downside to this market, that's where it wants to go. When you look at the action, it's a complete failure of the rally. Today, you just slid through everything down here and kept yourself going. The market never made it back to the 18-day average of closes. It gave you what's called a kiss. Let me explain that. The 18-day average makes a run for the 100-day average, but instead of crossing over it, it gets up so close to it and then it starts heading down again. That's a very bearish signal. It means you've gone through your correction phase. If it stays like this, be careful. And that's why I say this gap can easily be filled in there. Where's the next support? The lower Bollinger Band. The market right here, 501, all right? You know, that's quite a drop from where the market had been. We'll see if it gets there or not, but you are oversold. So I do give some respite here that if you get to that Bollinger Band, I think there will be a good amount of short covering as it comes into the gap area, not fully filling it, but towards the top of it. That's very important. In the lithium battery, would you think this would fall out of bed so much? It just keeps falling. So the question is why? I don't know why. I don't have the full reason. I read a big story today because I always like I'm an avid reader. About all these micro cars that are coming out. I used to have an Isetta. I don't know if you all know what that is, but that was my first real car. And it's one that you think it has 3 wheels, but they're really 2 wheels in the back very close together. And then the front was a BMW engine. Well, now these cars are taking Europe by storm. Not the Isetta, but ones like it, all electric. And they can't go more, in most cases, than 60, 70 miles an hour. Most go into the 20s. But they're phenomenal for cities. And they're replacing golf carts. You know, in America, if you go down south, we have people that have communities that live by their golf cart. You drive them everywhere. When I go to Scottsdale, I see them all over the place as well. Well, that's the idea here. In many areas, in many communities, not so much in America, but many other areas outside of America, you can drive these on the road. They don't take that big battery up. Think about it. Do you really need a big battery car in the city where you don't drive anywhere? Think about that. I have a smart car. There's a reason for it. I think I'm smart, number one. Number two, I love the car. I've owned all kinds, Ferraris, you name a car, I probably owned it at some point. It's the most fun car I've had. I can park it anywhere. I can go anywhere. People love the way it looks. It always gets a smile from people. Cool cars. And I have the Brabus series, which is that little race series that they made up. Okay, so you got the LIT, lower highs, lower lows. I look for the support 64, 54, but I gave you the story on lithium. I think that if we can get to smaller cars, smaller use of batteries, maybe that's something to consider, and we don't run out of the minerals that you need to make all that. In Apple, I have no faith in this. I did read a story again today. You know, I read a lot, where the wait times to get your phone now are coming down. Is that enough to get you to go out and buy this for Christmas? I have my doubts about it. But the wait times are coming down. It's still not a bullish chart. Disney, now avatars on everything. I hope you're watching it because you're seeing that now it's getting the screenplay. Will it be able to save AMC and other theaters is going to be the big question. AMC's down back under $6, folks. It's a problem. If these companies, these movie theater chains can't figure something out at the Christmas season, they die until you get towards the summer. I mean, they don't get much of a break. And the movies, there's not good ones. This is the big boy. Is it going to draw the crowds in? That becomes the question. I'm betting on it. I would tell you that. I'm not betting on AMC, but I'm betting that the movie does very, very well and helps Disney. We'll see if it's right or wrong. I'm sure that everybody there has their fingers crossed like that. In XLF, okay, higher high, lower low, oversold, fighting against this number. You got one time back to that 18-day average in the past week and a half. I don't know. You could be going down here again. Be careful. I think the morning's going to be so important for so many markets. XLI, I think a lot of traders bought this today in the 147 level. I think they'll have stops under here, and they're waiting to see, can you come out to the upside, or does the industrial sector, was that the rally, and the market starts turning south? In the semiconductors, as far as I'm concerned, that was your big problem area. Now, I read another story today. And what China's smartly doing, I use the word smart because they are smart people, very, very smart people. They're saying, you know, if we can't get all those chips from America to make them more sophisticated, you do know how big the business is for everyday chips. It runs everything, every appliance. Let's take over that market. I think that's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. The Chinese will develop. They're a lot of people, bright people, they will develop technology to make some very advanced chips. But in the meantime, why not go after the markets, the everyday chips? All we heard about is I can't get a toaster. I can't get this to run or that to run because there were no chips. Take it over. That's what I think they're going to do. In the home builder, remember, they're not going to get the higher grade technology from the U.S. anymore, and a number of other countries. They're going to cut back on that. Higher lows, higher highs. It looks to me like you had your peak there. Now the question is what happens. If you're looking today at the mortgage numbers as they came out, I was looking at them. Every category jumped. Why? A couple of things. Number one, mortgage rates have fallen. Number two, interest rates have fallen. So if you had to buy and you had to do some refi, is it cheap enough to do it now? Probably to a degree. To a degree, I don't know what price you bought at. Number two, you still need a home. And rents have not come down. The Fed talked about it. Yeah, they're hoping they get replaced, but they haven't come down that much. I check rents. I look at them all the time. And I'm not seeing them falling in the Chicago area very much, not at all, because you don't have enough homes. So you're going to pay that difference. I'm sure that different parts of the country do different things, but I'm just telling you. So I think that's what's going on. Plus, what they're counting on is, let's assume interest rates have peaked. That's what everybody's hoping in the 10 to the 30 year. Will that bring down rates even more because we go into a recession? Even in a recession, because of the shortage of labor, there's going to be a lot of people getting jobs that have money that can pay to keep the home builders going. In the energy sector, you had a huge battle develop today. If you've taken a look at the EIA and the API numbers, they are flooded with oil. Now, we know that the Keystone is still shut down, and they've lost, 600,000 barrels a day. Cushing is nowhere near full. They're trying to pull in oil from all different areas. So there's going to be a crunch that shows up. It's not going to be today. Why? There's other ways to get your oil right now. You can pay a bit more to get oil transported to you from other countries, different things. Number two, we're not down to no supply. Number three, you don't drive as much in the wintertime. It's really simple. So the demand isn't there for the gasoline. It'll be there for the heating oil, but not for the gasoline in that way. That's important. But what happens as we approach spring? And I know you're going to say, well, what are you talking about? It's only getting into winter. Markets don't think of it that way. You'll be trading and you'll see what I'm saying. So I think this is all important. The IEA said that Russia is going to lose about 2 million barrels a day of production. And when they do that, because OPEC really can't make it up, the members that can't produce don't produce. The 2 million barrel a day, they said, was nonsense. The members that make all that up in the countries that were supposed to cut back, they don't hit their quotas anyways. Pretty much what I've been saying all the way along. They're saying that this market, got to be careful, come the end of the first quarter of the year, you could get surprised with demand going into the spring. So something to keep in the back of your mind. And you had very bearish EIA and API numbers today, and the market paid no attention to them. It went up, not down. In the gold, this is your battleground. You're fighting right here. Hard assets might be the place to go. The dollar is bearish. It's oversold right now. You'll see that in the chart in a minute, but I don't see the dollar recovering in a big way at all. Just the opposite. I think that there's more downside until it finds a floor. When we look at silver, still bullish. I like this better than the gold. Embedded reading looks to me like it's a buy on each break until the red line closes under 80. The copper market is too overbought to be a buyer. It's hit its targets. Doesn't mean it can't go higher. And Peru, you're going to see in your news headlines, okay? The country's declared a state of emergency for 30 days. There's turmoil. The government, as you know, they got turned over. If you lose production out of there for any length of time, you take an important supply away. It's good that it's right now as China's getting a wave of COVID hitting them. And by the way, China's no longer reporting how many people get it, how many tested positive. They told people they don't have to test. They threw the switch. I didn't think they would. I was wrong. You know, I was here 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago when the turmoil was going. I said they won't throw the switch 1, 2, 3. Guess what? I'm wrong. That's why I missed their Swiss cheese. They threw the switch. They're letting the country just go. What they're saying is, we're going to keep the government. We're not going to lose control. Therefore, the people want to go out. They don't want to be in when they get COVID. We're going to abide by it. We'll give them certain rules, but our armies aren't going to go and surround buildings and make sure you're in it anymore. Yes, the stores will close and other things will happen, but life will have a semblance of life. That's what they're doing. Just read and read between the lines in the stories and you will see what's going on. But expect the wave to happen. And it's happening at a good time with what's going on in Peru. Let's see how it all plays out. In TLT and the like. So which way do you think interest rates are going to go in the U.S.? For this, BND, EFA. We've seen everything. We get two more shoes tomorrow. All that data I showed you, that's one of the two. And then the other second shoe is the combination of the Bank of England, European Central Bank. That all gets done. How does that impact us here? Have we come up high enough to get the correction? Or is the 18-day average going to get over the 100, give you another bullish setup to drive the market to the upside? Next few days are going to tell us that story. As I said in the dollar, bearish, and I am bearish. I'm not in the bull camp, and I wasn't in the bull camp from back here with you. Go back in the videos right in here. That's where I said, no, this game is over. And it's not over on the downside. But here you go. You're into a zone where you can get support. You either embed now or you bounce. Now, embedding requires at least 3 days in a row where the slow stochastic oscillator stays underneath a reading of 20. Well, you certainly got one of those days today. Yesterday, you had a reading where you had it. The day before, you had it. Therefore, you're embedded. You didn't have it the day before. So, given good rallies, those of you that have taken the enhanced Bollinger Band course, you know what I'm saying. I'll be looking for sellers in the market. I will wait and see what tomorrow offers first. And it's the flip-flop in the euro. You have the embedded reading here. This has been a buy. And now it's up to the Bollinger Band. The pros are taking some money off the table. And they probably are saying to themselves, why don't we take a look, see tomorrow what the ECB does, the Bank of England, how the markets react. It's going to be an exciting trading day, a big one. If you think today was exciting, it's nothing. I think tomorrow's going to do it because of all those reports and everything we have coming. You're going to want to keep up. We offer information to you in so many different ways that all you need to do is take your cursor to the top up here, move it around. You'll see an icon of our free offers. Choose what you want. Can I make it easier? I'm Ira Epstein. You have yourselves a great evening, and I'll see you all tomorrow.